Hello guys, Specimen here. Really excited today to share with you a new card from the upcoming Gwent expansion, The Way of the Witcher. It comes out December the 8th. This card is a beaut, and I'm going to be showing you my top 5 deck ideas for this card. Make sure you stick around for number 1 because it is absolutely crazy exciting. You're going to love it. If you want to see more top 5, top 10 Gwent videos, make sure you subscribe with the notifications turned on, the little bell button. I'm going to be posting lots of these in the lead up to the next expansion. Let's go. Here we have the Bear Witcher Adept. Oh my goodness, it's 7 power and a 4 provision Skellige unit. On deploy, it damages itself by 4. So it's going to hit the board at 3 strength. At the end of your turn, heal self by 1. So obviously, it's going to heal itself. When it can heal, that means up to 7 points. It can't go above 7 points because heal means if it's damaged. So it can get up to 7 points. While not damaged, gain 1 armor. So when it eventually reaches 7 base power again, or 7 strength, it's not just going to stop and stay there. It's going to continue to get armor, which is incredibly good. So not only is it 7 points, but it's going to gain armor. And there's some really cool things you can do with that. So you play it, it's at 3 strength, but it's then going to instantly heal at the end of your turn up to 4. So this card can be removed by natural selections, assaults, thunders like a turn later. So it's definitely susceptible to removal, for sure. However, for 4 provisions, if your opponent is using a removal card and a 4 provision card, you don't feel too bad. If you look at Radovid's Royal Guards, these sort of cards do get a lot of value. And there's some brilliant synergies with this card, for sure. I'm going to break down now my top 5 ideas. The first idea, number 1, oh my goodness, it is so good and so cool, and it actually links all these Witcher Adept cards together. So every faction has one of these Witcher Adept cards, and there is a way you can use them that is outrageous and you might not have realized before. I just want to give a shout out to Carol Bem as well for that artwork. It is glorious, and I'm super chuffed because I wanted to join the Pella next to me. I've wanted to reveal a card for this reason. But anyway, let's go on to the top 5. You're going to love these deck ideas. Let's have it. Let's go. Okay, number 5 is just a little handy thing you can do with this card, and bear in mind, at 7 base power, it becomes a nice target for Blaze of Glory if you're wanting to hold on to this great sword, potentially. If you only need 7 removal, you could use your Blaze of Glory. Added to that, also, Hjalmar, I think, is going to be the big one. 7 removal with Hjalmar. You're very content to just dump this card down round 1 at 4 provisions, and having 7 removal ready to go in the graveyard is really, really nice. If you compare it to example for a invader in round 2, this card's going to be 6. If you need that 7 removal, you've got it with the Bear Witcher Adept. So definitely worth considering, because you should not underestimate the value that has, allowing you to play your greatsword if you only need 7 removal. Definitely a nice option to have. Number 4, we have the Self-Wound archetype. So we've already had one other Skellige card that synergizes with this. Probably going to have some more coming soon as well. So Self-Wound looks like the motive. On deploy, the Bear Witcher Mentor is boosting self by 1 for every damaged allied unit. Obviously, our Bear Witcher Adept is going to be one of those damaged cards if you time it right. Adrenaline 3, that means if you've got 3 cards or less, boost self by 1 for every damaged unit instead, so it includes your opponents. So Bear Witcher Mentor, definitely synergizing nicely with the Bear Witcher Adept, as you would expect. I've also just compiled a few other self-damaging cards, such as the Terra Crew Plunderer. Damage your unit by 2 if it's an allied, boost self by 4. So you damage it, whether it's the armor of the Adept or you just damage it and it's going to then heal itself. It's up to you. The Demon Smuggler, you could damage a unit by 1. I'm thinking the armor, if it's at 7, you damage the armor and then boost it up to 9. The Svabla Butcher, damage unit by 2 and then give an enemy unit bleeding for 3 turns. Again, you either remove the armor if it's at 7, or if it's less than 7, you damage it and it's going to heal itself. The Cultist can heal a unit to the left by 1 and damage unit to the right by 1. See the pattern? Giant Boar, boost self by 1 for every damaged unit. It's not a very good card, but you know. And Joanna as well, with the sort of ability to heal and stuff like that. You could do some cool things with her. So yeah, that's the Self-Wound archetype at number 4. I think it's definitely one to wait and keep our eyes peeled on to see what other cards are revealed. But very, very exciting to see how this Witcher Mentor and Bear Witcher Adept worked together, because it should be a lot of fun. Bang! Okay, I know my friend Mr. Hablar is going to love number 3, and it's Artist X. The Bear Witcher Adept is going to damage itself down to 3, and then it's going to damage itself again with Artist by 1 more, so it comes in at 2, and then it's going to heal itself back up, so it's still going to get its full value in Artist X, which is really nice. Obviously, your opponent's cards aren't going to be benefited by Artist, but Bear Witcher Adept fits itself nicely into Artist. Added to that, Shukras. Not a card you see very often, but definitely a cool ability. You could play your Bear Witcher Adept to the left of Shukras, and it's going to instantly come in at 7 and gain armor. So something to bear in mind. Artist X though, Mr. Hablar, I can see him being pretty excited for this one, not going to lie. Now, while this card is just going to be a great option in many decks, it's just a value card, this is the deck in particular, it's really going to come into his own. And that is Foulblood Priests with mushrooms. So if you haven't seen these decks, it uses Gedinith and Druids and Draco Turtle and goes really tall. Well, this card lends itself really, really nicely because you can obviously use a priest on it when it's got armor and you're going to keep getting points. Alternatively, you might just want to set it up earlier, and even if you're damaging it with your priest, it's still then going to heal that damage lost. So it fits beautifully into these decks, and it's basically just like an upgrade on this armored Drakkar because you're using a provision less. It was very difficult to include this card in there, but with the Bear Witcher Adept, you can set it up and it's going to get value instantly. It doesn't require synergy. So if you want your priest to go on your turtle, for instance, it doesn't really matter. Also, with the Battle Trance lead ability, you've got things like Mardromes, which you can use on the armor. Also, if it isn't healed and it's damaged, you can play a alchemy card and get that heal value as well. You need to be careful because obviously sometimes you might not want the heal value. You might want it to heal itself, but definitely is going to be a shoe-in in these Mushroom Gedi decks that have been pretty damn popular recently. And a lot of the 4 provision cards that were included in these decks were kind of meh. So this is definitely going to improve the power of this deck. I think it's going to be a really key place that you see this card do an absolute job. Number 1 is something else though. So let's have it. Let's go. Okay, number 1 is going to link all these Witcher Adept cards. We've got the Griffin in Northern Realms. We've got the Viper in Nilfgaard. Others to be revealed soon, I am sure. Do you know what it is? Well, let me go over to my deck builder, right? What's better than 1 Witcher Adept? Well, I would say 2 Witcher Adepts, of course. I don't have that in my deck builder, but let's just put a good honest squirrel in to represent my 2 Witcher Adepts. How would I go about playing 2 Witcher Adepts in 1 turn? How about a Portal? So I play Portal, and that's right, you play Portal, and your Bear Witcher Adepts come in at 7 power straight away because they skip the deploy ability. That means it's a 14-point Portal already with nothing else. Add to the fact then that your Bear Witcher Adepts are instantly at 7, so they're going to gain 1 armor each per turn. That is absolutely outrageous. That is so good. And you're going to be able to do it with these Viper Witcher Adepts, like the Nilfgaard card. You play your Portal, you're thinning your deck, and then your opponent's deck is going to be having more cards, so they're going to instantly grow to 4, 1 point per turn engine. Added to that, your Griffin Witcher Adept. This card has some secret synergy as well, because I'm 90% sure, as long as the card text is correct, you can transform your own Griffin Witcher Adept with another one. Now, that sounds stupid, but let's say I use the Shield and Order on this one, right? I can then use another Griffin Witcher to reset this, to regain the shield and regain the order. So you could use Damn Sorceresses, remove the shields, and basically you get a shield all the time with this card. If you've got 2 off Portal, really, really nice. Particularly this card as well. But yeah, like 7-point Portal with instant armor. That is so good. So it seems like Portal is the motive for these Witcher Adepts. Good on their own, but the fact you can use Portal, and obviously Portal has deck building restrictions. You're not going to want to include any other 4 provision cards apart from units, special cards rather. So you might be seeing some things like pacts in these sorts of decks. Portal just lends itself to all sorts of interesting decks, so like hyper thin decks, which I'm such a big fan of. Obviously, in Skellige, you've got Jutta as a nice target in hyper thin, so some really cool things you could do with this Portal. Ultimately, as well, thinning is winning, and I think Portal at this point in the game is just a really interesting card design. I used to hate it long time ago. That's a long story for another time, but as soon as you're including Portal now, you're not able to include cards like Squirrel, etc. So yeah, Portal is going to be pretty outrageous with these Adept cards, and it makes sense, right? Because you've got two cards, two little witches, they're two Adepts, not the Donny witches just yet. They need a friend to help them get the job done. So yeah, so cool. They don't quite hate portals yet. Maybe it's just Geralt. I'm not sure exactly if all witches. Clearly these ones don't. They're a big fan. So yeah, what other deck ideas have you guys got for this card? Big shout out to Ryan Godric, the community specialist at CDPR and Gwent, for hitting me up and thinking of me to do a review. I really appreciate it. I also just wanted to take the time to thank Max for the visuals that you saw. I want to thank Andasama and Lorako for helping me through across some of these. And I also, most importantly, just want to thank the Plague Gwent community, you guys on the channel that just support me and have for over 3 years. Can you believe I've played and streamed this game for now? So yeah, big up, much love. I really obviously love the game and it was super cool to do this. Looking forward to the Bear Witcher Adept joining the Hall of Fame next to my Fisher King, my Pella and co. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Obviously make sure you subscribe if you want to see more top 10 videos, deck guides, all that sort of stuff. I'm on Twitch too, if you didn't know and you want to follow me there, feel free. But yeah, big shout out to the community. Thank you so much. What ideas have you guys got? I'd be interested to know. Deuces. Adios. See ya.